guys, it's Adrian. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to bring you something a little bit different. This isn't going to be one of my booktube videos. This is just going to be a me talking to you video. So if you're up for more of a booktube video, I'm sorry. Come back next time and I will have one for you ready to go. I have mentioned a couple times on my channel that I have a visual impairment. And I got a comment recently on one of my videos, and don't get me wrong, it was not a rude or inappropriate comment at all, but it simply just said, hey, you should look at your camera more often. And it made me think, I've mentioned it a couple times, but it would be nice for me to have a video that I can refer back to where I talk about why I don't exactly look at my camera. And I had mentioned in one of my earlier videos that if anybody was interested in me talking about the visual impairment that I actually have, that I would be more than welcome to sit down and talk to you about it. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm sure many of you have noticed that number one, my eyes move a lot, and number two, I don't always look at my camera lens. I have a tendency to look this way because this is the natural resting place for my eyes. And the reason for that is I have a syndrome that's called Septo Optic Dysplasia, otherwise known as Morsier Syndrome. And what that basically means is that my optic nerve is underdeveloped and it's missing some of the nerve fibers that bring the image from the retina to the brain. And because of that, I have a pretty big loss of sight. I actually am completely blind in my left eye, and in my right eye, I can only see about 10%. So I can only really see from this inner corner here, and this side I am completely missing. And also what I do see is pretty limited. I have to look at things pretty close up. Septo Optic Dysplasia is a really uncommon syndrome. Apart from the eyesight problem, basically what happens is the pituitary gland that sits underneath your optic nerve is also underdeveloped. And because of that, it also gives off different hormone deficiencies. Now, every case of Septo Optic Dysplasia is different. Everybody has a different variety of hormone deficiencies or visual impairments, and there's no one case that's really the same. So my story of Septo Optic Dysplasia will be different from somebody else's. The biggest reason that I wanted to share this with you is because when I wanted to start my YouTube channel, I was really nervous about it because I know that I cannot look at a camera lens for a long period of time. My eyes have a really difficult time focusing on small objects for a while. And I came across a video from Fashionista, and she talked about her syndrome, and I was so excited to find that there are actually people like me that dare to make YouTube videos, and I found it very inspiring. So I'm hoping that this video will be an encouragement to anybody else who wants to set up a YouTube channel, who have a visual impairment or any other kind of impairment or handicap, that are feeling self-conscious, because it is possible. And you know what? It really helped me be more self-confident and learning how to look people in the eye, because I have to practice looking in the camera lens. So let me talk to you a little bit more about my personal syndrome. Like I said, I have an extreme visual impairment, and on top of that, my pituitary gland is underdeveloped. And when I was a small child, that caused growth hormone deficiencies. So I was really short until I was about 11, 12 years old when they realized that I had a growth hormone deficiency. So I was given growth hormone injections, and that helped me. But this was one of the things that I had to be careful for. And when I'm older, I need to be careful that I don't get osteoporosis because of the lack of growth hormone. When I got a little bit older, they also discovered that I wasn't producing enough thyroid hormone, so I needed to be put on thyroid medication so that my thyroid would stay active, because it was very underactive. And that causes you to be really tired, and it causes you to have weight gain issues and various other things. And then a few years later, they discovered that my adrenal glands are not producing enough cortisol, which is basically your stress hormone. And this is the most dangerous part, because when you are sick, when you throw up, or you have an extremely stressful situation, your body makes cortisol. It makes a stress hormone so that your body can handle it. In extreme cases, if your body does not make cortisol and your body is put on an incredible amount of stress, your organs will shut down. This has never happened to me, and I've never had a serious case like this. It sounds a lot worse than it could be, and like I said, there are varying cases of Septo Optic Dysplasia or Morsier Syndrome. Mine, as far as what mine is concerned, as long as I have regular checkups, regular blood tests, and take my medicine regularly, there's nothing physically wrong except for the fact that I have a visual impairment. But that was just a bit of background information. What I really want to talk to you about is mostly the visual impairment, because that's what affects my video making. Because I have nystagmus, which is basically when your eyes move back and forth, because there's no control over my eyes, it's difficult for me to focus on things. It's difficult for me to look people in the eye. And like I said at the beginning of the video, that's one of the things that I really wanted to challenge myself with, was to learn how to look at people in the eye, because partially the reason that I look away is from embarrassment and not wanting people to look into my eyes because they move so much. The other reason is because I indeed just can't focus on them for too long. But I can do better. I can always do better. I can always look at someone in the eye regardless of what my eyes are doing. So making videos was a way for me to overcome that self-conscious fear that people are gonna notice that my eyes are moving. And you know what? They are, and I'm learning that that's okay. There are a couple questions that I've gotten recently about my eyes and my vision and my impairment and my YouTube channel. And I have a booktube channel, as most of you already probably know. So the biggest question that I get is, if you're legally blind, how do you actually read books? Now, that is a good question. I have audiobooks, number one, that I work a lot with audiobooks, especially when my eyes are really tired and I just can't focus on things. I do read Braille, but I don't like to read Braille books. I have Braille like labels, and I have Braille shopping lists sometimes, and little things in Braille, but I don't like to read Braille books because they just go so slow. I'm not that great at Braille reading yet. But when I read a book, let's take this one for example, I do have to be careful that the font is not too small. This is a really good size font, but I read things from really close by, and I'm sure you've noticed that in a couple of my videos, but I really have to look at it from about here in order to be able to see what I'm seeing. One of the things that I get asked quite frequently, and not just because of my booktube channel, but anybody that knows that I read a book, is, do my eyes get tired from reading? The answer is yes and no. There are days where my eyes are just so out of focus that reading is just tiring. But I will say, having to focus on reading is actually really good, because because the books are so close, they're so close by that there's less for me to see. So it's actually relaxing for my eyes, and it trains my eye muscles, which is important for someone like me. Another question that I get is, how do I know if my camera's in focus? Yeah, this is a good one. Number one, because I don't have a viewfinder. My viewfinder is actually on the back of my camera, so it's kind of trial and error. But as far as when editing goes, I have a Mac, and Mac has incredible accessibility features built in for the visually impaired and the blind right into their software. Unlike others like Windows or Linux, you have to get software to go with them. Mac, as they're developing their softwares, they develop accessibility features, which is astounding, and their accessibility features are so wonderful. So I can zoom in really far and see if anything's out of focus. But usually what all I have to do is put it on full screen, and then I can tell. If it's not in focus, I'll either decide to, number one, refilm the video and start all over again, or number two, say, whatever, I don't care. Because usually it's just a small part of my video that's out of focus. And maybe it's not the best way to go about things, but I don't have anybody that can film my videos for me. I do it myself, so you do what you gotta do. The biggest question that I get is not necessarily booktube related, but does being blind or visually impaired really bother you? And I would have to say no. Yes, it has its drawbacks. Yes, it makes life difficult sometimes, but I really love the way that I've been created. I feel like because I have a visual impairment, I can impact so many other people that do, and I have so many talks with young people who have visual impairments that makes me realize, you know, I'm living the life to the best of my ability, and I always keep challenging myself to do new things. And I think that's what people who are suffering from a handicap need. So I'm hoping that my YouTube channel and my blog and any of the other little activities that I do will help someone like me who is self-conscious about their eyes become more self-confident and kind of, who cares what everybody else thinks about me, because I'm me and I love who I am, and I'm gonna live my life the way that I want to live my life. All that to say, that is the reason why I don't always focus on my camera. That is the reason why my eyes move so much. That is the reason why I read rather slowly, and that's just me, and that's who I am, and I'm proud of who I am, and I hope that you enjoy my channel and my videos despite the fact that I don't always look at you. Just know that I love you anyway. Anyway, I know this had very little to do with booktube and booktube videos, but I decided that I wanted to just talk about it and get it out of the way. So like I said earlier, I can refer back to it when necessary. If you have any other questions that you'd like me to answer, leave them in the comments below, because I can either answer them there or I can do another Q&A video depending on how many questions I get in. You can also send them to me on Twitter at shareinspirejourneydream, and I'll be more than happy to send you a tweet or a response back to whatever question you have. Because like I said, I'm an open book and I'm happy to talk about these things with you, because why not? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you know anybody who does suffer from Septo Optic Dysplasia or Morsier Syndrome, please share this along, because it's always nice to find other people who are like you. That wraps it up for today, guys. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.